Hey, what's doing YouTube? Alright, so now we're about 4.5 weeks out from competition here, so things are starting to get a little bit more difficult, a little bit harder with the diet, and the energy levels are starting to suffer a little bit more. But it's coming through on the physique nicely. I think I'm pretty close to where I need to be, or where I'd at least like to be, and be better than what I was last time on stage. So the weight, I'm still about 90 kilos, which is a good sign. So last time I competed, my weight would probably be about 87 to 88 kilos just before getting on stage. So it looks like I put on some decent muscle. I've still got some nice shape, and I sort of flatten out during the end of the week. But after carving up, I do look nice and full the next few days. So just got to keep working away, and keep just sort of suffering through the diet and keep the training hard. I'm still strong in the gym. I've dropped off a little bit in strength, but still having some great sessions. So I'm very happy with how the training's going at the moment. I've got to really sort of psych myself up some days to have good sessions, but once I'm into it, I'm pretty good. So 4.5 weeks, not much time now, so it starts to get a little bit more serious with the diet. Has to be kind of right on the money, and but luckily I'm well ahead, so hopefully I'll be happy with the end result at the end of the day. As far as posing goes, I've always been not a bad poser. I sort of picked it up myself just from watching YouTube videos. But this year I've been using the help of Charlie Duca, who's if you know who Charlie Duca is, he's a three-time NABBA World Champion and an IFBB Pro bodybuilder, and probably one of the best posers in my opinion of all time. I really always loved Charlie's routines and the way he posed. So, and he's local to me, so I've been using him the last couple of weeks to help with posing. The problem with posing, you'll find over the years when you're competing, is everyone's got their different opinion on how things should look. So at the end of the day, you just got to kind of choose what sort of style you like, and just kind of listen to the people that you sort of use as your mentors, and not worry too much about what everyone else has to say. At the end of the day, the judges are all going to have different opinions, but you've got to be happy with what you're presenting on stage. And I've already learnt a lot from Charlie Duca, and we've been working on a routine, and I'm really happy with the help that he's given me for the routine as well, and hopefully that I can pull it off on stage, because it would look really good if I can nail it on the day. So that's one thing I've added this prep, is a little bit more posing sessions. I always kind of did it myself, and thought I was capable of putting it all together myself. But this time I've really benefited from the advice from Charlie. So this video, I'd like to talk a little bit about the diet, getting towards the end. So the day that I filmed these meals was Australia Day, so I trained twice. So I'll just go through it. So this is a typical breakfast for me. So that's 2 eggs, 2 whole eggs, a bit of beetroot, cucumber, tomatoes, a bit of spinach, and probably a bit of sauerkraut in there as well. And I have that with rice flakes and a protein and a bit of protein powder. So the rice flakes, in the off season, probably go up to 100 grams, which is probably 80 grams of carbohydrates, plus a piece of kiwi fruit, which is 10 grams of carbohydrates, or whatever it is. I don't really count calories or anything like that. I just kind of go by how things weigh. But now we're down to about 50 grams of carbs 50 grams of rice flakes, which is about 40 grams of carbs for that meal. So that's pretty much as low as I'll go, maybe a little bit lower towards the end, but that's probably that's where we are at the moment with meal one. So then meal two on this day, and you can't see it very well, but that's 50 grams of rice. So I measure my rice uncooked and I boil it. So that's again about 35 to 40 grams of carbohydrates. I had that with about 150 grams of kangaroo, 75 grams of pineapple, a bit more spinach, tomatoes, cucumber, and sauerkraut. So that was my post-workout meal on that day as I trained after my first meal. And I also should mention my intra-workout drink that I have. So it's P2P by Gentech Nutrition, and it's basically got all the aminos, essential aminos, glutamine, creatine, and it has 20 grams of carbs per scoop as well. So also got to consider that when you're dieting. Post-workout is just some whey protein isolate. So I normally go for about 30 grams of protein. So that works out to about 25 grams of protein. And I go with bulk nutrients. And at the moment we've got the choc peanut, but lots of other good flavors as well. But I mix that with some more carbs. So they got a product called Carb Plus, and I also aim for about 20 grams of carbs for my post-workout shake as well. So then next meal three, back to protein and fats. So this was a chicken meal, aiming for around about 150 grams of chicken. And for those that are interested, I normally try and cook up a kilo of chicken and then store it away, and that way that it's ready to go when I need it. And that's pretty much what the meal looks like. So I've got tomatoes, cucumbers, beetroot, mushrooms, chicken obviously, sauerkraut, and the spinach as well. And this meal I used for my fat source was macadamia nut oil. So I use about 15 milliliters of macadamia nut oil for my fats in that meal. So that's about 13 grams of fat just from that. So 40 grams of protein, or 30 to 40 grams of protein, and 15 to 12 grams of fats. Then the next meal, this was a turkey meal. So again with the spinach and the tomatoes, cucumbers, sauerkraut, onions, all that sort of thing. But this was an avocado meal, so you probably can't see it there, but I had 50 grams of avocado for that meal, so that's probably about 7 grams of fat. So just trying to reduce things a little bit with this meal. In the off season I could go up to 125 grams of avocado for this meal. And then the last meal of the day, so I trained twice on this day. So the first workout was back, and then trained biceps at night, so a little workout. So I only really sipped on some BCAAs for that workout, but it was again turkey, 75 grams of pineapple, 50 grams of uncooked rice, so about 40 grams of carbs, mushrooms, greens, tomatoes, and cucumbers again. So that was my full day of eating wrapped up on a sort of low calorie diet, considering that I was training twice a day. And that was just an example of what sort of calories I take in during when I'm trying to really cut up for competition. But that's the end of the video. Hope you guys enjoyed it, and I'll catch you guys again soon.